Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. Manufactured stone that looks exactly like the real thing. Exterior finishing systems that look like brick, wood, stucco, but they all have built-in drainage systems with them. Then there's Nudura concrete forms for a sturdy, energy-efficient build. We showed you how they withstood a hurricane a few weeks ago. All the other buildings around them were gone, but the one built with Nudura stood strong. Whatever your project, A.G. Hines Company has the cutting-edge materials, the building materials you need to make it cost-efficient and energy-efficient. A.G. Hines Company that have been around for more than a century. That's all you need to know. You don't last a century if you're not pretty good. A.G. Hines Company, aghines.com to learn more. Okay, want to welcome in the next member of our panel right here, Chuck Cavaleris. Chuck, thanks for being here.
Great to be here, man.
Once again, congratulations. It's amazing. The Cavaliers line and the over-under has people always playing still into the fourth quarter, so way to go.
Well, I was kicking myself, but thank you.
It was pretty good. All right. You also split the panel, which is really what I asked you to do.
That's
my back hurts. You kick it.
Each week we're going to cover a couple of quick questions in this segment. And, Bob, I'm going to start with you. Everyone else jump in here. Who was the best player on the field yesterday?
Best player on the field yesterday, you score 4 touchdowns, and you're not it. I went with Jalen Wright.
Yeah, we argued yesterday. Okay.
Jalen Wright, I thought, was the best running back on the team last year. I don't think he did anything yesterday to disprove it. Yes, the offensive line gave him some good holes, but he seems to have a little bit of everything. He's got good speed, good quick feet, and his vision seems to be very good.
He hits the hole so hard.
And I just thought you could spread that around a couple of 3 different ways. But I thought Jalen Wright was the best player on the field.
Yeah, I mean, those are like the body blows, right? If you're in boxing, that's really what loosens up your opponent. And Dylan Sampson, you got to have him in there because when you do that, when you gain 115 yards rushing, it's mostly between the tackles, that has to open up some
stuff.
Well,
and the running back depth looked like a problem for the season.
I mean, Jalen Wright, who was your best player on the field?
Dylan Sampson, just because he's a difference maker. And that was fourth down. You got him the ball, I thought, on that first score. And he still made somebody, I mean, he just does things nobody, other backs, I don't think, can do right now.
Well, when we were talking yesterday, your point was I'd get him the ball more.
Yes, don't let him leave UT being Alvin Kamara and people going, why didn't we use him?
And I only think, from what Josh Heupel said, the only reason I think he does it because Heupel has had such a long season. And he doesn't want to have those hits pile up.
I wonder if he's as good a blocker as Small and Wright, too. That one's. I wonder if that plays a role into it. Will, who was the best player on the field?
Joe Milton.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy that he rushed, he did a lot of the stuff right. So, I mean, I think overall you look at him and go, hey, he's the guy how the team's going to go, right? So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think Joe Milton is that guy right now that's the best player on the field.
All right, Jimmy.
I struggle with all 3 that you mentioned, and I'm ending up with Milton, accounting for 4 touchdowns. Throwing for 2, running for 2. Again, I thought he had just that one bad series.
Yeah.
He had a potential touchdown pass that was dropped by Keaton. So I'm going to go with Milton.
But I think somebody, and I've heard all the people talking about the drop by Keaton, and I think Sterl mentioned this out. He was looking right back in the sun. I mean, that was not as easy as a catch as it might have looked on TV. And you know I take up for the receivers a lot.
Still got to catch the ball.
I understand.
When you're 60 yards downfield, it hits you.
70 yards down the field.
He should have caught it by feel. Hit him in the hands. All right. Here was my list, and I left off Milton because I figured we'd have some people go there.
Right.
I had Jalen Wright as my number 1. 12 carries, 115 yards. He averaged 9 yards a carry. I think Jimmy mentioned that earlier. Also 2 catches for 8 yards. Dylan Sampson, 13 carries, 52 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, a catch, 9 yards, a receiving touchdown. Hard to beat that. I wanted to get D. Williams in there. Bob, you mentioned returns in the first segment. He had three punt returns that averaged 35 yards. He had a kick return that was 34 yards. He did have the fumble on what was another good return.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. D. Williams, I think he has the ability to be really, really special.
I do too.
I also think with that, when people started talking about the speed, a part of that perception is watching him on the returns and how fast and how quick he is. I think it just shows, oh man, this team is fast because of just how much faster he is out there than – because for a long time, a couple of years, our punt return and all this stuff was just catch the ball,
go back
catch the ball and fall on the ground.
Or go back to the Dooley year and just let it roll.
Catch the ball.
Pick it up after it stops rolling.
All right, next question, and I'll give you 3 choices. You can go in another direction if you want. What was the worst coaching move yesterday? Was it Heupel going for it on 4th and 1 at his 29 early? Was it Tony Elliott kicking a field goal down 14-0 at the end of the half? Or was it, and this is my choice, like so many other teams, you get into the last 2 minutes and you go prevent on TV on Tennessee, like Virginia did, and Heupel just runs it up the gut, 80 yards right down to your 10. It's like, just play the Virginia had held Tennessee to 14 points, and then they changed their defense in the last 2 minutes. To me, that was the worst coaching move. What was the worst coaching move, gentlemen?
I'm going to go with the 4th and 1 call, or the 4th down call. Excuse me. I didn't like the play call. Somebody obviously whiffed on a block, and so the play
maybe
never had a
two.
chance. But I didn't. At that point in that game against that opponent, I just didn't see it.
I think it's Virginia's coach going for the field goal. I mean, I know you want to go for the points and all that kind of stuff, but at the same time, you know Tennessee's going to score 30 plus. So if you want to actually be in this game and win a game and even say we contested for it,
Yeah.
I just felt like it was a give up of, the moral victory and we don't have a chance and where to go win this game. And so I don't think that's a good message I'd want to send to my team,
Yep.
because that team also knows this gives us no shot to win.
Well, then after the game, after all Virginia had been through, he said it was really a victory to spend it back on the field again.
Right.
I almost had the impression he's kicking the field goal because he's trying to avoid getting shut out. And he knows what Tennessee's defensive front
So
was
what was
doing.
your worst coaching move?
I think that's what it was. That you're the kicking the field goal there is kind of like a give up to your team.
Mine was I'm with Bob. It was the 4th and 1 on your own 29 on your second series. You're up 7-0. Don't give Virginia any momentum. You
Yeah,
don't
there
know
you
how
go.
bad
Yeah.
Virginia is yet.
Yeah.
You may think they're pretty bad, and they were. But I wouldn't. I just thought it was unnecessary.
You could have gave
Yes.
them. You could have gave them cheapy score right there. And
Yes.
But
You're,
real
you're
quick,
giving,
what-
you're giving them an opportunity to hang around.
And you don't want to make a habit of that. But what was worse, the play call or the execution? They were both pretty bad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The execution's
And then the last question, this is like 30 seconds. Anybody here like the rugby kicks?
Well, we found out. We
see
found
no
out he's
hands.
ambidextrous with his feet.
Yeah, that's
No, I don't like that. And yes, you can get the great rolls. Don't.
it's hard to
I
catch.
did learn
great
that the
rolls.
rugby field is 74 yards wide. The football field's 53. So I think he was just screwed up by the
Well,
rugby
that's
field.
it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
I tell you what, if you're the return guy, it's difficult, right? Because
Yeah.
if he can be on and he can be more consistent, it's going to be a good thing. But you got to be consistent.
All right. When we come back, VFL Mike Stoll joins us. He's going to give us his 3 big takeaways from this game. And then we're going to have our other 2 VFLs join Will. That would be Sterling Hinton and Daniel Hood. So we got 4 VFLs in this next segment talking about reacting to Mike Stoll's takeaways from the game. We got plenty more to come. Come on back on the Sports Source.